You're listening to the Future Tech Health Podcast with Richard Jacobs. Until I reached age 40, I never realized the obvious, that we all have medical issues, or we at least have a family member or close relation that had, has, or will have them in the future. Medicine and biological systems are the final frontier. Until we've conquered death, figured out how life began, cured cancer, and understood our purpose in the universe, there's a heck of a lot to talk about when it comes to our health. Future Tech Health means I'll be covering futuristic topics that are actually already in clinical trials, or even starting to appear on shelves or by prescription, or available for your own use. We dive deep into stem cells, CRISPR-Cas9, the science of sleep, epigenetics, medical testing, cancer, ketogenic diets, stem cells, aging, regenerative medicine, and more. My goal for you, the listener, is to learn from these podcasts. You may very well learn something that may change the course of your life for the better, steer you towards a new career, or give you insight into addressing a serious medical problem. Remember, however, this podcast and its content is informational in nature only. No medical, tax, legal, financial, or psychological advice is being given. If you enjoyed the podcast, please listen, subscribe, like, and share it with friends. Thank you. Hello, this is Richard Jacobs with the Future Tech and Future Tech Health podcast. And I have Nicholas Rue, head of marketing at Moona, M-O-O-N-A. Website is getmoona.com. So Nick, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thanks to you.
Yeah, tell me what is Moona? What's the company do?
Moona is a French sleep tech startup. We were founded in 2016 by Colin Jouin and David Stojkovic, who both struggled with sleep in their childhood and adolescence, and they realized how big an issue it is across the world, with up to a third of the adults suffering from poor sleep. And they witnessed firsthand the consequences of poor sleep, how it affects your mood, your productivity, but also long-term your health. And they both wanted to tackle that issue, which is why they joined forces in 2016, and they've been developing a solution that revolves around temperature to help people that are struggling with sleep. So it's something they found out after starting looking at the research around sleep, and they realized that temperature was both underrated and key for a good sleep, as our body temperature varies throughout the day, and it needs to decrease at night in order for us to fall asleep. And a common thing about chronic insomniacs is that their brain temperature, especially, is not slowing down as it should be during the night when they fall asleep, and that cooling down the head and neck area was proven by a few studies to help those insomniacs to fall asleep faster and get deeper sleep.
Yeah, I definitely get hot. My head gets hot on my pillow. And
exactly. Most people, when you ask them, if they flip the pillow for the cooler side, this is something that 50-60% of the people will say, yeah, of course. It's something I do pretty much every night, and this is pretty normal, as our body needs to cool down. And Moona is a device. It's a pillow pad. It's something that you can insert on top of your pillow, and it will cool you down or warm you up depending on the time of the night to give you a better sleep.
Oh, is it controlled by the user, or is it does it sense the temperature next to it and change the temperature automatically?
Good question. Thank you. The user has full control over the experience, but what we're going to do is suggest the right temperatures based on the user profile, the user sleep history. So we're using artificial intelligence to improve our algorithms and improve our suggestions or temperature suggestions over time, so that the user doesn't have to do anything, and we're going to regulate the temperature to have the perfect setup for each time of the night. And let's say you wake up during the night, we're going to sense that thanks to the few sensors that we have on both the edge of the pillow pad and also ambient sensors that we have within the bedside device to see that you wake up, and then give like maybe a cool down the pillow pad so that you can fall asleep fast.
Yeah, well, one thing I thought of is I would think it would have to be very thin. Is this going to be on the part of the pillow that you lay your face against, or is it on the bottom of the pillow? And if it's
Exactly. It's
more than a certain thickness or a different texture, it could really alter how you sleep.
That's a really good question, and that's the reason why we chose not to do a pillow, because there's so many different preferences for the pillow that we just wanted to do something, a pillow pad that is less than 1 inch thick, that would go on top of any pillow and that wouldn't change your pillow profile.
Well, I mean, how thin is it? Is it a half inch, or is it even thinner than that? And,
It's about an inch.
and it goes what inside the pillowcase, between the skin and the pillowcase.
Exactly. So between the pillow and the pillowcase, so close to your skin. Then the pillow pad itself has a cover, but it's pretty close to your skin.
And how does it cool? I know there's a thing called the chili pad that sends water through it, but that's like for the whole bed. So how does this cool?
It is a similar system with water that is running between the bedside controller and the pillow pad, which helps us have the exact temperature, maintain the exact temperature you want throughout the night. Because as you will put your head on the pillow, it usually warms up, and having the water constantly flowing between the pillow pad and the bedside device helps us maintain the temperature you need to fall asleep and stay asleep.
Well, yeah, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of surface area and a lot of water that would flow through it. I would think that you'd either have to flow the water through it extremely fast because there's not a lot of thermal mass to cool someone with that small amount of water.
It is.
So what do you guys do?
Water is surprisingly effective for cooling you down and warming you up. The heating and cooling properties of the water are much bigger than those of air, which is why for example, the temperature of 75, 80 degrees will sound warm if you compare it to the ambient air temperature that is recommended to fall asleep, which is in the 60s. But when you put your head on it, 80 degrees will feel quite cool.
And that's the set point temperature that's typical that would make someone feel good, 80 degrees.
Yeah, that's the recommendations are different for each person, but around like 76 and 80 degrees is what we recommend for or the initial nights using Muna.
Does this make any noise in order to cycle the water? Is it white noise, or is it
There's
somehow
some
silent?
noise up to 25 decibels. This is obviously the first question that always come up, and we've worked a lot on the acoustic to decrease the noise that is produced not by the pillow pad but by the bedside device, by the fan of the bedside device, and we've reduced the noise to 25 decibels, which is good enough for most of our users. Maybe the very, very sensitive users will find this too much, but it is good enough for the vast majority of our users. Just to give you some comparison, the quietest AC is around 40 decibels, so much quieter than a silent AC.
Yeah, except for people that like to sleep in dead silence. I sleep with a fan, for instance. So as long as it's white noise, I think probably 25 decibels will be fine.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't think it would bother
considered
most
white
people.
noise. For those that are super super sensitive, we would recommend using earplug, and if not, I guess the top 5% of people sensitive to sound, unfortunately, this is we'll try to help them as much as possible, but it will be hard for them if they're really really sensitive to noise.
Yeah, it makes sense. Does the pad deform as you lay your head on it? I would think that squishes from 1 inch to maybe a half inch, and then it pools around your head. Does it get in the way of your nose or your mouth? Or
Oh
does
no.
and what does it do?
It 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 there's memory foam surrounding the pillow pad. So most of the pad, most of the thickness is the foam. So this will this will be reduced once you put your head on it, but much less than what your pillow is reduced when you're sleeping on it. So that's the extra thickness, the extra inch of the pillow pad doesn't change anything to how you sleep.
Yeah, because I would think, if your head lays on the pad, like on the pillow, it would pancake it out. So the part that you're laying on would be thinner, and the semicircle surrounding would be thicker.
A little bit, but not noticeable.
Okay, well, that's good. Yeah, it depends on the material. So what do users tell you when they use it? Like, what's some of their feedback?
So they're very happy about it because most of our early testers, we've selected them to be people that are struggling with sleep and also that are what we call hot sleepers. Those people that are always complaining about being too hot at night, sometimes even having night sweats, hot flushes. And we've been a great help for those people. They can feel the instant relief from having a always cool pillow, and they're pleasantly surprised by the amount of noise the or silent Muna is. And so far we've been very encouraged. There's still some work to do, especially on the software side, the app controlling the Muna, but we're getting much closer to where we want to be as the product will launch around May, June, and we're already the app is already on private mode in stores. We still need to update them and improve them for some features, but really happy about that as well.
All right, so the user testing so far is saying that what are people sleeping more peacefully, or what's their experience?
So going to sleep faster and waking up less during the night. Those are the two things where we're optimizing the most.
Yeah, that's good. What about the rest of the body? If like for instance, I get hot, so I've slept with the blanket, over my shoulders, and sometimes I'll have to like pull the blanket down just a little bit, so it goes below my shoulders to keep cool, or let my feet out, or I mean, with keeping your head cool, how much does that affect your whole body temperature?
It's hard to say regarding the whole body temperature as it is extremely hard to track, and this is not something we have done yet because again it's super hard to track, and our end goal is not to change your body temperature. Our end goal is to track how well you're sleeping, and it's to improve how well you're sleeping. So as tracking body temperature is harder to do than tracking your sleep, we haven't measured that proxy metric that much. But what I can tell you is that the perception of temperature just by cooling down the head and neck is huge. Like even during the summer when your room is hot, your ambient temperature is very high, just having a cool pillow to sleep on will change your whole perception of temperature.
Yeah, it's sounding good. I'm wanting one. So if the ideal temperature is between 76 and 80 degrees, why modulate it during the night? What happens as people sleep? What does their body temperature need to go to?
The temperature will not change much during the night between going to sleep and the rest of the night. What it may change and what we offer as well is to warm up the pillow pad in the morning to wake you up gently. So you're going to set up your alarm, let's say at 7:30, and 20 minutes before that, we're going to start raising the temperature of the pillow pad, which will wake you up naturally so you can get rid of your alarm clock. And it's also a very nice way to wake up. This is something our test users have been surprised with as well. That what we call gentle wake up is a nice plus.
So so as it gets warmer, that helps to wake you up. It sends a signal to make you uncomfortable and wake you up, or why would that the temperature rise help you wake up?
What is true at night that you need to cool down in order to fall asleep is true in the morning as well. So your body temperature needs to warm up in order for you to be at your most productive level. Like there's a correlation between body temperature and your alertedness.
Well, what about during the night? I mean, are there stages of sleep where your body temperature dips even further, or goes up or down, or what have you observed?
It continues. So when you go to sleep, your body temperature decreases, and then it keeps decreasing until 304 when it hits rock bottom, which is about 2 degrees Fahrenheit lower. Like the body temperature can get 2 degrees Fahrenheit lower at that bottom point around 3 or 4 a.m. than it is at its peak, which is around 6 p.m. And again, this depends on your on your rhythm. So it can depend between 1 and 2 hours if you're a night owl or an early bird.
Yeah, that's interesting. But what about during the night? It just goes down 2 or 3 degrees and it just stays there, or does it fluctuate?
It fluctuates. So that's what we're going to try to improve as we gather more data once the product is out, is to have to understand what is the right temperature during the night and for each moment. Right now, we only have a simple setup where you're going to have a specific temperature to fall asleep, which usually is the lowest temperature you have, and then it raises a little bit during the night, so it's not too cold, because if you sleep on something that is too cold during the night, it may then uh, not be super comfortable. And then at the rest of and then in the morning it warms up. It warms up quickly to wake you up. So this is what we have right now and what we're gonna have at first. But then using the data from all of our users, what we're gonna try to do is to be even more granular in how we regulate the temperature during the night, so it adapts to your needs. And maybe we're going to find out that we may need to lower the thing during your when you wake up at night, or something else. This is something we'll discover with the data from our users.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're going to get data on a lot of people and how they sleep and how their temperature fluctuates. So I would look for a correlation. In REM sleep, what happens? In deep sleep, what happens? And maybe go with the flow. You may not want to keep it at the same temperature all night. I would stick to whatever path you see people take, and maybe then you could also influence their sleep. If you see that people, when they go into deep sleep, their temperature comes up a degree or goes down another degree, you may want to do that with someone when they hit deep sleep. Lower the temperature of the pillow while they're in it, and then when they come out of it, raise it. Or REM sleep does this, or there's a lot of possibilities, and I bet you a lot of insights from doing that.
Exactly.
All right, well, that's good. That's excellent. Have you used the device, or is it not
course,
in your hands yet?
We're trying to use it as much as we can, and that's the bottleneck right now, is the number of prototype, which is why we haven't been able to send it to test users in the US at the moment. Because of the limited number of prototypes, we have to keep them in or around Paris, where we are located, which means I've been able to use it quite often and give feedback to their engineering team. And we also have a clinical study going on in Nantes, a city in the west of France, with the hospital there. So we have 10 prototypes there that are being used by a PhD candidate, like a future MD for her thesis, and we have the data from those studies. So we have tests going on there, and I've been pleasantly, again, myself as well, surprised by the effectiveness of the thing. And probably the thing I've been most surprised about when first trying it out this summer was about how just having your head on a cool pillow impacts your perception of temperature throughout the body. So just by having the head cool down.
So what did you experience?
So yeah, the cooling down effect, and just the comfort it provided during the summer. We had a quite warm summer in Paris last year, so it was more than welcome using Muna.
I mean, what did you experience? You laid on it. Did you find that you fell asleep faster and that you woke up less? And
yeah,
how did that impact your sleep?
Oh, I sure did sleep faster, and work. I don't have that many sleep problems, so I couldn't tell, because I wasn't waking up that much during the night, so I couldn't tell the difference then that much. But the more the bigger your sleep problems, the more we are able to help you. And that, so for me, I noticed it mostly during the going to sleep phase where I had the most trouble, and where sometimes it would take me 30 minutes, 1 hour to fall asleep. It was reduced to I don't remember exactly, but 10, 20 minutes max.
Is there anyone that has tested it that had horrible sleep, and now that their sleep's improved? And what did they say?
Some people, some of our users have been really bad sleepers, and have been greatly helped by Muna. They were very thankful for us for doing this thing, but unfortunately, those were only beta testers, so we had to take the prototype back from them, and so they were eagerly waiting to have their own unit at home.
So what's the launch schedule? When will this be available in the U.S. and in other countries?
It's going to be available directly from our website, getmoona.com, GETMOONA.com. Probably in May or June. It's hard to tell. At the moment, it will be hard to tell until we have the units pretty much ready to be shipped to the US. But it should be around May or June. We're in the last production phases.
Are you allowing people to pre-order, or what happens if people go to the website now?
We have had a successful Kickstarter campaign where we had hundreds of backers for the project, and we added as well extra customers through our website. We're offering $100 off for pre-orders, so the retail price will be $399, and at the moment we're offering Moona at $299 if you pre-order.
Okay, well, very good. So what's going to happen after this first iteration? What are the plans for the future?
Is to ramp up on marketing, hopefully go into retail. We are already in touch with a few retail chains in France at first, because it will be easier for us to iterate and understand how to position our product. And then we hope to make a second batch and then the third batch. So that's the goal.
Okay. Well, very good. So people can go to getmoona.com. And Nick, I appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Thanks to you.
You're listening to the Future Tech Health Podcast with Richard Jacobs. Until I reached age 40, I never realized the obvious, that we all have medical issues, or we at least have a family member or close relation that has, or will have them in the future. Medicine and biological systems are the final frontier. Until we've conquered death, figured out how life began, cured cancer, and understood our purpose in the universe, there's a heck of a lot to talk about when it comes to our health. Future Tech Health means I'll be covering futuristic topics that are actually already in clinical trials, or even starting to appear on shelves or by prescription, or available for your own use. We dive deep into stem cells, CRISPR-Cas9, the science of sleep, epigenetics, medical testing, cancer, ketogenic diets, stem cells, aging, regenerative medicine, and more. My goal for you, the listener, is to learn from these podcasts. You may very well learn something that may change the course of your life for the better, steer you towards a new career, or give you insight into addressing a serious medical problem. Remember, however, this podcast and its content is informational in nature only. No medical, tax, legal, financial, or psychological advice is being given. If you enjoyed the podcast, please listen, subscribe, like, and share it with friends. Thank you.